place that does not appear on maps and does not exist during the day. Only when the world grows quiet and the thoughts in your mind begin to slow does it open for you. Tonight, you have been granted access to one of its quietest rooms, a story that was never meant to be rushed. So you do not need to stay awake for it. In fact, you are not expected to. Just listen as long as you can and let the rest fade on its own. There comes a time near the quiet edge of evening when the day no longer needs to be carried. Not solved, not explained, not replayed, only set down. Outside, the light has thinned to a soft blue-gray, the kind of color that seems to belong not to the sky, but to memory. The room is dim. The air is still. Somewhere beyond the walls, the world continues in its usual way. Cars moving along distant roads, windows glowing in other houses, leaves brushing lightly against one another in the dark. But here, there is nothing left to hurry toward. Here, the day begins to loosen, not all at once, never all at once. It slips away in small pieces. A thought first, then a sound, then the sharp edge of something remembered. Becomes rounder, soft, less important. This is not a story about what happened today. It is a story about forgetting it. Gently, kindly, without needing to decide whether the day was good or difficult or ordinary. It was simply a day, and now it is ending. There is a house that appears only at evening, not on any road, not on any map. It is not reached by walking or driving or searching. It is reached by becoming quiet enough to notice that you have already arrived. The house stands beneath a deepening sky with one small lamp glowing in the front window. The walls are the color of old cream. The roof is dark slate. The windows are tall and calm, and the door is painted a faded shade somewhere between gray and green. It is the sort of door that does not need to be opened quickly. Beside it, a brass bell hangs from a thin chain. But no one rings it. There is no need. The house already knows when someone has come carrying too much of the day. Inside, the air is warm, but not heavy. It smells faintly of linen, wood smoke, and rain that fell hours ago and has already forgiven the ground. There is a narrow entryway with a small wooden table, and on that table rests a shallow bowl made of blue glass. The bowl is empty, or almost empty, because this is where the day is placed. Not the whole day, perhaps. Just the pieces still clinging. A conversation, a worry, a sentence said too quickly, a task unfinished, a small disappointment, a moment of noise, a thought that kept returning after it was no longer useful. One by one, each may be lifted from the mind and placed in the blue glass bowl. The bowl does not judge what it receives. It does not weigh one thing as heavier than another. It does not ask why something mattered. It does not ask whether it should have mattered. It only holds softly and once placed there, each piece of the day begins to change. The sharp things blur. The loud things quiet. The heavy things become small. Not gone exactly, only no longer held in the hands. Past the entryway, the house opens into a sitting room. A low fire burns in the hearth, not bright enough to wake anything, only steady enough to remind the room that warmth exists. The chairs are deep. The curtains are drawn. The floorboards creak in a friendly way, in a way as though they remember many tired footsteps and have never minded any of them. On the mantel, there is a clock with no numbers. Its hands move slowly, but never toward anything urgent. Time inside this house does not count down. It settles. And somewhere in the quiet, the first rule of forgetting begins. Not forgetting who you are, not forgetting what matters, only forgetting the unnecessary weight of having been awake in the world all day. sitting room is a long hallway. It is narrow but not cramped. The walls are covered with faded wallpaper, patterned with tiny, pale flowers, almost too soft to see. Along the hallway, small doors stand open. Behind each door is an unfinished book. Not frightening thoughts, not thoughts that need answering now. Only the little remnants that sometimes follow a person into evening. What should have been done? What might happen tomorrow? What someone meant? What should be remembered? What could be fixed? What cannot be fixed? What was forgotten? What was almost said? Each thought has its own room, and in this house, every room is allowed to dim. In the first room, there is a desk beneath a window. On the desk sits a stack of papers. But the writing on them has faded until it is no more than gray lines softening into the page. A pen rests nearby, uncapped, as though someone once meant to continue, but not tonight. Tonight, the papers may remain unread. The pen may rest. The unfinished thing may be unfinished without causing harm. In the next room, there is a chair facing a window. In the next room, there is a chair facing a mirror. But the mirror does not reflect the present. It reflects all the expressions worn throughout the day. The polite smile, the concentrated look, the tired patience, the moment of bracing, the moment of pretending there was more energy available than there truly was. One by one, each expression fades from the glass. The face in the mirror becomes peaceful, not perfect, not right, only peaceful, as if it has finally been allowed to stop performing the day. Farther down the hall, another door opens onto a room filled with shelves. On every shelf rests a small sealed envelope. Each envelope contains something that can wait. Tomorrow's errands, tomorrow's decisions, tomorrow's possible weather, tomorrow's unknown moon. They are all here, sealed gently, labeled simply, not now. The house is very good at knowing what belongs to later. It does not throw tomorrow away. It only places tomorrow where tomorrow belongs. beyond the hour of sleep. At the end of the hallway is a window looking out over a garden at dusk. The glass is cool. The view is soft. The garden is not bright enough to see clearly now, but that is part of its kindness. Not everything needs to be clear before rest can come. A path curves through the garden, pale beneath the evening, and just before the hallway ends, the house seems to whisper, not in words exactly, but in the gentle way that some old houses sometimes do. You may leave the rest here. And so the rest is left. The garden waits beyond a quiet door. It does not bloom loudly. It does not ask to be admired. It exists in shades of silver, green, and blue, with tall grasses bending beneath the evening air. The path is made of flat stones set deep into the earth. Each stone holds a little warmth from the day that has passed, but the warmth is fading now. Slowly, naturally, like the last color leaving the sky. To walk this path is to feel the day become less detailed. Names soften, times loosen, small irritations lose their edges. Even the body begins to understand that nothing more is being asked of it. There are lavender bushes near the path, their scent quiet and dry. There are ferns gathered beneath low trees. There are white flowers that only open after sunset, and they glow faintly as though holding a little moonlight inside. Somewhere, water is moving, not rushing, not falling hard, just moving. A narrow stream runs through the garden, almost hidden by reeds. Its surface reflects whatever remains of the sky. A pale streak of cloud, a darkening branch, the first small star. Beside the stream is a wooden bench. The bench is old but sturdy. It has waited through many evenings for anyone who needed to stop carrying what could no longer be carried. Here, the day may be watched as it leaves, not chased, not corrected, only watched. The day appears first as a handful of small lights hovering above the stream. Each light holds a fragment, a room, a voice, a scream, a list, a clock, a worry, a meal, a road, a question. They float there for a little while, and then, one by one, they drift down to the water. The stream receives them without a sound. Each small light touches the surface, trembles, and stretches into a thin silver line. Then the line widens, blurs, dissolves. Nothing is lost that needs to be kept. Only tension leaves. Only the noise leaves. Only the insistence that every moment must still be understood. Across the stream, the garden grows darker, but not frighteningly dark. It is the soft darkness of closed curtains, of warm blankets, of a candle burned low beside a book no longer being read. There are moths moving through the flowers. Their wings are pale and silent. They do not seem to be going anywhere in particular. They drift from one room to another as though the whole purpose of the evening is simply to move gently through whatever remains. The garden understands that forgetting is not failure. It is a form of rest. The mind cannot keep every detail polished. The heart cannot hold every sound. The body cannot stay ready forever. At some point, the day must be allowed to become background. And so the garden helps. The stream carries away the brightness of remembering. The flowers soften the air. The trees gather the dark. The path continues slowly forward, stone by stone. moving breath by breath toward a place where nothing needs to be named. And now, the Candlelit Archive grows quiet again. The books return to stillness. The lanterns continue their gentle watch. And the story is safely put away until it is needed once more. You do not need to finish this moment awake. You do not need to hold on to anything from it. Only rest. Only slow down.